Chapter 1. Wake up, honey, said Eric's mom, shaking him awake on the couch. Your grandmother is here. Hey grandma, said Eric, kissing her cheek. Come on lazy bones, his grandmother scolded him. Remember our deal today. We are going shopping. Oh yeah. Eric had forgotten all about it. All right. Here, put on a new shirt honey, said his mother, handing him a freshly ironed plain black t-shirt, which he pulled over his head. His mother grabbed her purse and he headed to the car with his mother and grandmother. He sat in the back quietly before falling asleep. They woke him as they pulled into a parking space before heading inside. Hey Johnny, Eric said to his buddy as they entered the mall. Are you shopping as well? Yeah. I'm hooking up with you. Your mom and I talked and this will be so cool. This is awesome. I wasn't sure you'd be into this, but I'm pumped now. I mean, your grandmother is the best and your mom is amazing. Eric, today's a special day honey, his grandmother said to him smiling. What's happening here, grandma? Said a confused Eric. It's nothing honey. Your mom and I decided that we understand what's happening in your life and Johnny's life, and we're going to help you. His grandmother told him. Remember how we wouldn't let you grow your hair really long and get your ears pierced while you still live at home? Well, today that ends. Really? Said an excited Eric. Yep, we decided we love you no matter what and we're going to help you get through this period in your life with our love and support, said his grandmother. The only condition will be that it will be in good taste and done with class. Is that agreed? Cool, hell yes, said Eric. I'm finally going to look like a rocker instead of one of the nerds. Awesome. Whatever honey. Now let's get started dear, said his grandmother, taking his arm. Dude, it's about time you got rid of that stringy, greasy haircut anyway, Johnny said in a teasing manner. Yeah, don't be jealous 'cause you have that cop hair, said Eric, teasing him back. His grandmother brought him to the first kiosk, Piercing Pagoda. He and Johnny sat there very excited as they numbed their earlobes. He now sat back daydreaming, feeling nothing but pop after pop as he could barely contain his excitement at getting his ears pierced. Wow, that was more than two grandma. Wasn't it? Said Eric. Yes honey, but no peeking until later, said his grandmother. When I'm done with you today you'll look hip and cool. He looked over at Johnny, who now had a small earring in his right ear and two small gold ones in his left ear. She now took them to the next kiosk, Simpson Eyebrow Threading, where they each sat back as a small Spanish woman approached them. Sit back and just relax boys, said the voluptuous brunette as she leaned over Eric. Say bye-bye unibrow honey. He blinked and squinted as the woman hovered over him, as she gently closed his lids and pulled back his hair with a thick headband. After a few minutes, she tapped his thigh and he opened his eyes, looking over at Johnny who seemed to have his brows nicely shaped. They now followed Eric's grandmother into the store across from the kiosk, which was called Summerglow Tanning and Skincare. Eric and Johnny were brought to separate rooms, as his technician entered the room. I'll help you undress honey, and don't be shy, said the large black man. I've seen it all. A little uncomfortable, Eric stripped off his clothing down to his underwear and stood there as the man was mixing some chemicals. That too honey, said the man, as he pointed to his boxers. Just stand spread eagle and try not to move for now. Eric dropped them to the floor as the man put some rubber gloves over his hands and then put Eric's hair under a plastic cap and goggles on his eyes. He then began rubbing some chemicals up and down Eric's legs before moving to his rear and chest, then finally coating his arms and back. Don't move and I'll be back when the timer goes off, said the man, exiting the room. After a few minutes, Eric felt tingling and odd sensations all over his body as he stood there motionless, before the timer finally clicked off. The man returned to the room and began rubbing down Eric with a large sponge, before finally leading him into a small booth. He positioned his arms and feet and removed his goggles before closing the door. Don't move or it'll be uneven and whatever you do, keep your eyes closed, said the man as Eric now felt himself being sprayed all over. He stood there with his arms in the air as he waited, until finally the door swung open and the man came in. He inspected his work before finally tapping Eric's behind. "Looks good on you. Now run along," said the man. "Your new clothes are on the bench." Eric walked over, seeing plain white briefs, denim shorts, a simple white button-down short-sleeve shirt and a pair of flip-flops. He put them on and walked outside, stunned by the brightness of the light as his grandmother, mother, and Johnny were sitting there waiting for him. "Nice tan asshole," whispered Eric, teasing his friend. "Eric," screamed his grandmother. "Watch your mouth." "Sorry, Grandma," said Eric. "I didn't realize you heard that." "I've heard it often enough from you and I don't like it at all," said his grandmother as she grabbed his arm and dragged him out of the tanning salon. "Obviously, we change your manners and language as well today." "Hey Johnny, come with me honey," said Eric's mom, Linda. "Let Betty spend a few minutes with him while I get a feel for your taste and let's talk a little." Embarrassed now, Eric was brought to the next kiosk. He was surprised to see a hairpiece and wig kiosk named Hair Today Gone Tomorrow. His grandmother immediately sat him on a stool as she browsed all of the different selections on the kiosk. "Good afternoon," said his grandmother to the young sales girl. "My grandchild over here would like to have long hair, so can you suggest a few things?" "Of course, ma'am, we have plenty that would work with that hair color," said the sales girl, touching his brunette hair. "Are you planning to stick with that color?" "For now, at least," said his grandmother, surprising him a bit. "We are shopping today for a new look for him. He is going through a lot in his life right now, and I am helping him through his transition." "I see, ma'am," said the young saleswoman. "No worries. I've helped with many types of transitions, and I'll be delighted to help both of you." She first grabbed a large straight ponytail extension on a large clip and began brushing back his hair into her fingers. She now clipped it on and stood back staring at him as he could feel the weight and strain on his scalp. "Looks like this is cute for casual, everyday stuff," she said as she removed it and then replaced it with a curly one. "I have a French braid too in this color. One of the things to get used to when going to longer hair is that you have options." "Yes, good point young lady," said his grandmother, observing the excitement on Eric's face. "Another option is a nice fall. I've got this cute wavy one with a few types of curls," she said as clipped a large permed look on his head. "Also, you could blend the hair back into it or brush it down for bangs, like this." She now removed the tight permed fall and replaced it with a wavy look and combed his sweeping bangs in front of his partially covered eyes. "Also, the bone structure and face shape would allow us to do a medium-length bob-type look if you like that. I've got a cute one in that hair color." He now felt her parting his hair on the left and sweeping his bangs across his eyes, before snapping a few clips on the middle of his head. "See, the bob looks very cute," said the sales girl. "Also, we have human hair, layered clip and extensions which you can curl or flat iron, which are more expensive, and a lot of formal stuff to do updos or add some height or volume." "Grandma, some of this is too." Eric started to whine, but his grandmother interrupted. "Dear, mind your manners," said his grandmother, shushing him. "Young lady, what my rude grandchild is trying to say is, we are trying to find a very hip and cool, long-haired look for every day. No bobs at this time." "I see, ma'am," said the saleswoman as his grandmother whispered in her ear. "Oh, of course I can do that, ma'am. Lean forward please, honey. I think I have the perfect everyday look for now," said the saleswoman, as she removed the bob and opened a bag showing it to Betty. "Oh, I really like that," said his grandmother. "Yes, let's try that." She now filled her fingers with gel, rubbing it through his hair. She then dug some clips into his hair on the top and sides, before snapping it in the back. He could feel the hair on his shoulders now, as she took a fine-toothed comb through the hair on his forehead that she was now blending into his fall. Finally, he watched her take a large curling iron in her hand and quickly began styling the front of his hair and combing it with the fall and behind his ears. The salesgirl now sprayed it heavily as she used her fingers, picking at it as she moved around him. That really is perfect, honey. I love that style, his grandmother gushed. Can I see it please? Said Eric, asking the girl to hold up her mirror. Soon enough, dear, said his grandmother, dragging him away. Thank you, young lady, for your patience and lovely ideas. Eric could see his long hair on his shoulders and at his ears as he peeked at it out of the corner of his eyes. He was actually getting excited about his new cool status as he checked out the girls, smiling as he walked through the mall. His grandmother held his arm as they walked through the mall into Macy's, where he found his mother waiting for him with Johnny and a series of bags. She smiled at seeing him, as did Johnny, and he smiled back. Oh my goodness, said his mother, taking his other arm. You look adorable with long hair. She means very cool and hip, honey, said his grandmother, giving her daughter a nasty look. They now both walked toward the escalator, through the series of endless perfume saleswomen, before turning towards the exit and stopping as a gorgeous mid-20s redhead interrupted them. You must be Eric, said the woman. Yes? Eric said, confused that the woman knew his name. Well, I've spent a lot of time with your mom today shopping and consulting for your new look, honey, and I'll be helping you finish it off now, dear, said the woman holding his hand. My name is Sabrina. Oh great, said Eric as she led him to her stool. Don't be nervous now because as you'll find out now, skincare is very important, said Sabrina, as she quickly wrapped a white cape around his neck, pulled his hair back with a headband, and began rubbing creams on his face. Ladies, we'll see you later. I'll text you when he's ready. I'll need some time. Eric looked around, seeing other women having facials and makeup done right in public in the mall. He had seen this before, but just breezed through this section without paying attention. Now he was sitting in the MAC Cosmetics section of Macy's. This is Tracy, she'll be doing the cleaning up of those dirty nails, while I fix that skin of yours, said Sabrina. Now close your eyes and don't open them until I tell you, or we'll have a problem. Eric nervously closed his eyes, happy to not have people stare at him, as she was rubbing at his face over and over. He now heard the sound of a small electronic buffer as he peeked, seeing her rub it around his face. No peeking, sweetie, said Sabrina, as he now felt Tracy working on his toes as he felt them getting separated. This will really burn badly if I get it in your eyes, honey. When she finally switched it off, he could feel her tapping at his face with a sponge, as Tracy was clipping and buffing his left hand now. He felt her rubbing at his eyelids and brows, and then his cheeks, before pulling tightly at his lashes. This work seemed to go on forever in his mind as he nervously peeked a few times, seeing people walking by and in other chairs around the area, having their skincare regimens. Relax and smile, because your lips are very chapped and I'll fix that and need you to smile for me, said Sabrina. Okay, eyes open and stand up. You grandmother should be back in a moment. Confused now, Eric looked down, seeing his glistening red toenails and began to freak out. What the hell is that, grandma? Whined Eric, as she quickly covered his mouth. Relax, honey, said his grandmother, standing in front of him. It's just something your mother and I thought we'd try for you. Shit, whined Eric, as he looked up seeing a mall filled with people staring at him as he made a slight scene. A security guard approached. Everything okay over here, ladies? Said the guard, looking at Eric. Yes, officer, said his grandmother, chiming in. My granddaughter just got a little excited at her makeover. She's fine now. Please respect our other patrons, young lady, said the guard, giving Eric a nasty look. Is that understood? Eric nodded his head, scared and speechless with embarrassment, as the crowd began to resume their shopping. Don't be nervous, and this will be over in a jiffy, dear, said Sabrina, holding him steady as he heard the sounds of metal rings sliding on a rod. You'll be behind a curtain now, honey, while we change you. He stood shivering, staring at his mother and grandmother as only his head was exposed above the curtain. He now felt his shorts drop to the floor and then his shirt removed. His mother now handed a Victoria's Secret's bag over the curtain to Tracy, who quickly pulled off his briefs as his trembling now intensified. "Don't mind me now, honey, as I have to adjust you," said Tracy, stepping his legs into the panties. "It'll feel weird at first, I bet, but you'll be fine in a second." Eric gasped as she pulled back his penis forcefully and pushed his testicles inside his body cavity, snapping the panties tightly, before quickly grabbing his right leg again. She now lifted his right leg and then his left as he felt the tight silky stretching material sliding up his waist. Sabrina now wiped his left eye, gently removing a stray tear, as Tracy worked quickly as he felt his waist being pinched in as she snapped clasp after clasp on his back as Sabrina tugged slightly at his chest. She now slipped his arms through some straps and he instantly felt the weight at his chest as he knew exactly what they were doing to him now, as tears ran down both cheeks. "Good thing I went waterproof on you, honey," said Sabrina, smiling as she again wiped the tears. "Relax, you're a natural beauty." Stunned with her comment, Eric gave a nasty look to his mother and grandmother as he heard Sabrina unzipping a large garment bag. "Chin up, and don't move please," said Sabrina, as she was now touching up his cheek with her brush, and then his eyeliner with her pencil. Tracy now placed her hand inches from his face as they guided his outfit over his head, careful not to touch his face or hair. He then felt them guide his arms through some straps, before feeling pressure on his back as he felt a zipper. They then sat him back down, pushing under his chin, forcing him to stare at the ceiling as he now felt his hair on his shoulders as they removed the headband. He now felt a few rings being slid onto his fingers and then pressure on the pinky on each hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. "Just don't bend your fingers until we tell you, honey," said Tracy as she worked on one hand and Sabrina on the other. He now felt them repeated on the ring finger before finishing and doing each of his digits. As Tracy finished, she quickly lifted his right leg straight out, and he immediately felt an odd sensation of his new shoes and the tightness of two straps being buckled around his ankle, before she jumped to the other foot. Gently now Sabrina lowers his head to face straight ahead, holding her hand under his chin as they unveiled the curtain and she touched up his lips. Tracy was fluffing and spraying his hair before spritzing him with some perfume. "You look gorgeous," said his mother, smiling as he now looked down, seeing his light-colored blue dress. "You were right about that color on him, Betty. It's adorable." He lifted his left leg, noticing his ankle bracelet above his nude, smooth stocking-covered foot in his new strappy pump. He held out his right hand, rattling his 2 gold bracelets and freshly glued on pink French square-tipped nails. "Mom, Grandma, why?" said Eric softly, cautious not to make a scene, as he shook his head. "Why? Why?" "Honey, we really weren't sure, but now I am," said his mother. "You look amazing. Remember, we are in a store, granddaughter, and behave yourself now," his grandmother whispered in his ear as she approached him. "See, sweetie," said Sabrina, holding a mirror to his face. "You have great features. Especially those sweetheart-shaped lips that girls kill for." Eric's eyes widened as he stared at himself fully made up, with his new flawless complexion. He couldn't believe it was himself with huge black thick lashes, thinly lined lids, and blended pink shadows. His former unibrow was gone, replaced with 2 high-arched ultra-thin lines. His lips were lined in a plum color and filled in with a twinkling pink lip gloss. His hair had now been parted on the right side, and slicked back tightly from his forehead to the crown, where it was blended into a long dark brunette fall with caramel-colored highlights. The loose turned back waves cascaded across his shoulders and felt so odd to him, rolling down his bare back. He had a few delicate dangling loose thin spirals in front of each ear, which now allowed him to notice the double piercings in each ear as he moved his head. In the upper hole he had a large pink stud, and in the lower a delicate tear-studded drop earring on both sides. "Stand up, dear," said Tracy, helping him to his feet as he struggled in the medium-height 2.5-inch pumps. "They'll take some getting used to, so take small steps at first, honey." Tracy took his arm and now slowly walked him to the full-length mirror across the room in the dress section of the store. He trembled as he walked, as he knew he had no choice now, stuck dressed as a young woman. He looked down, avoiding eye contact with shoppers as he stared at his feet and the flowing layers of his dress. She now stopped him, releasing his elbow as his eyes now moved slowly upward from the floor, seeing his toes glisten through the straps of his open-toed baby blue satin slingback pumps. He paused, staring as he now saw how hairless his nude legs looked right up to his bare knees, which he could see slightly knocking with fear. His eyes followed the hemline of his baby blue satin and silk dress, which was decorated in a series of soft silk slightly flared layers, 2 inches above his knees. He next touched his pinched and satin waistline, which was decorated in a gorgeous embroidery of rhinestones and glitter before ending at the rounded neckline, showing off his shockingly accentuated hourglass figure. He now poked at the amazingly created cleavage with his fingertips, on display with the dress sweetheart neckline, which was held tightly in place below a series of thin spaghetti straps on each bare shoulder. "I think she's ready," said Sabrina as she smoothed his skirt and retied the large silk bow at the back of his dress. "You look lovely, dear." "One more moment," said his grandmother as she stepped in. "Hold his hair up, dear, for me for a second." Sabrina gently lifted his waves from behind now, as Betty delicately placed a necklace on him by reaching around his neck as she stood in front of him, blocking the mirror as she secured the clasp. "Now my granddaughter is ready," said Betty, smiling as she stepped aside and handing $100 bills to both Sabrina and Tracy, tipping them. "Thank you, ladies. Enjoy your day." Eric now turned a full shade of red, clearly seeing his diamond script nameplate in the mirror reading Erica. He turned, looking at his mother and grandmother, still wondering why they had done this to him. "That is not funny," said Eric softly, not to make a scene. "I don't understand why you would do this to me." "Let's get outside, dear, before we cause a scene," said his grandmother, taking his arm and dragging him out of the mall. As they got to the curb, his mother hugged him and smiled as she kissed his cheek. "Mom, I don't understand why you dressed me like this," said Eric. "I wanted to be cool and hip with long hair and earrings like a rocker or cool dude. I did not mean long hair like a girl. This is not what I meant. Just enjoy tonight, and we'll discuss this in detail tomorrow," said his mother. "We will. Believe me, we will. This is going to be so much fun," said Johnny, opening the door to a limo and stepping out next to him. Eric stared at him in shock, with his mouth hanging open, seeing him dressed in a black tuxedo with a white ruffled shirt and baby blue bow tie. "Are you kidding me?" said Eric, looking ready to kill his friend. Without missing a beat, Johnny smoothly slipped a floral wrist corsage made of pink roses and multicolored carnations over Eric's left wrist. "You look even better than any of us could have imagined," said Johnny, smiling as he stepped back, looking his longtime friend up and down. "Holy shit," whined Eric, looking at his mother and grandmother. "This is not what I think it is? Is it? And is that tonight? I completely forgot about that." "You agreed to go with him, honey," said his mother. "And don't worry, we didn't forget. You make a perfect couple," said his grandmother, snapping a picture with her cheap throwaway camera as Johnny put his arm around Eric. "Grandma, please." "I agreed to go to the college dance with him as friends, so he wouldn't be uncomfortable going alone." "I didn't agree to this," said Eric, stunned. "We were supposed to go there to meet chicks. I'm not supposed to be one. Honey, you and I both know that wouldn't happen. When was your last girlfriend anyway?" "I can't even remember, it's been so long," said his grandmother. "Plus, I know you know that Johnny is gay, and so do we." "Exactly, he is gay, so therefore why does he need a girlfriend?" said Eric. "Because society is difficult on gay couples, especially in a city like ours. It can be unforgiving, so we thought this would be easier on you too," said his mother. "And now that I see you too, I think it looks right." "What the hell are you saying, mother?" said Eric. "I'm not gay." "Honey, I think you don't even realize what you are right now, but here's what I do know," said his grandmother. "I know that Johnny is a wonderful friend and loves you dearly. I also know he would do anything in the world for you, and I know that you would as well for him. Tonight is when he needs you, so we just got in the middle of it and made what he needed to happen just happen for him. Oh shit. This is crazy, but of course you were right, said Eric, shaking his head and stepping into the limo. You are sure no one would ever think I'm not a girl, right? Are you kidding? Said his mother, wiping a tear from her eye. You are gorgeous. Keep the boys away from my daughter, please, Johnny. Of course, but that won't be easy, said Johnny, winking at her as he now stepped into the limo next to her and closed the door. I'll make sure she is treated like a princess. I know that tonight you are going to have a wonderful time on Johnny's arm. Your mother and I have had that wonderful pleasure in our lives of hanging on the arm of a handsome man, and there is no greater feeling. Tonight, I want you to embrace your beauty and just enjoy this, and then tomorrow we'll discuss Erica's future, said his grandmother through the window. Trust me, and you'll have an amazing eye-opening evening. Wait, one more second, kids, said his mother, running around to the other side as Eric lowered the window. Here is your little clutch purse, dear. I put some essentials in it for you. You know, lip gloss, nail glue, and just some girly stuff you'll need later. Enjoy tonight and the entire experience, Erica. Eric rolled up the window as the car pulled away as he opened his purse and looked in. He found a little makeup case and opened it, seeing mascara, a tube of lipstick, a thin clear lip gloss, and some eyeshadow. He removed the case and found a pink flip cell phone which opened, realizing his contacts were all in it as he scrolled through it. He then unzipped the inside pocket, finding some bobby pins, hair clips, a few $20 bills and credit card for Erica. My mother packed this purse, sighed Eric. Holy shit, she got a credit card made for Erica. Yeah, she's the best, isn't she? Said Johnny as he put his left arm around Eric's shoulder, pulling him in a little. I promised her I'd take good care of her daughter, and I will. You won't need that credit card tonight. Oh boy, said Eric, tensing up. Relax, Johnny, relax. Easy on the touching here. Believe me, I couldn't be more relaxed, said Johnny, whispering in his ear as he kissed it. I've dreamed about this for years. All I want to do is worship the ground that Erica walks on. Eric started breathing heavily as he got a little panicky. Johnny looked into his friend's eyes lovingly as he gently rubbed his thigh through the silk dress. Nervous now, he avoided eye contact by rummaging through his purse. He quickly snapped it shut, noticing the loose items in the bottom of the purse where he found 2 condoms, and a tube of KY jelly hidden under a brush and a small bottle of hairspray. Now, relax, gorgeous, said Johnny, grinning from ear to ear, noticing his friend panicking as the limo pulled up at the dance. I don't bite. It's still me, your best friend Johnny. It's just that we can finally be together now as we should have been years ago. Johnny softly planted a quick, soft kiss on his friend's lips as the driver opened the door. Johnny stepped out and helped Eric out of the car as he took his arm, steadying himself on his heels. They walked through the entrance and immediately Johnny introduced his new girlfriend to his friends and colleagues. Eric smiled and made small talk in his softest voice as Johnny was unable to wipe the tremendous smile off his face. After 30 minutes or so, Johnny wiggled his fingers through Eric's and led him to the dance floor for a slow dance. He took Eric's wrists and wrapped them around his neck as he held his waist softly, looking into his eyes as his friend looked away nervously. I'm glad I was able to get the beauty to the ball, except I want you to understand that at midnight, I have no intention of letting Cinderella turn back, said Johnny, shocking his friend as he looked up at him. Without hesitation, Johnny took the opportunity to kiss Eric deeply, pushing his tongue into his mouth as he opened his eyes, seeing the flash bulbs as the party photographer popped a few pictures of the wonderful kiss. Johnny, what the fuck, said Eric, pushing away. You're going too far now. I'm sorry, you are so enticing, so sensual, so damn sexy, said Johnny, pulling him back and dancing. I'm sorry. I'll calm down. Let's just dance and not make a scene. Okay, just don't get stupid again, said Eric with a soft, yet nasty tone. Yes, of course. Sorry, honey, said Johnny, looking into his eyes. You're just so gorgeous. Honey! Did you just call me honey? This is crazy, said Eric, shaking his head. Sorry, Erica, said Johnny, with a wise-ass tone, smiling. That's better, I guess, said Eric, before being stunned again as he felt Johnny against him. Johnny, what the fuck is that? I just felt that shit. That's my love and excitement for you, Erica, that just kind of woke up, said Johnny. Don't worry, I noticed that your mother prepared you for it. She's the best. But there is no need to rush. I know you need time to accept and embrace Erica. This is a one-shot deal, my friend, said Eric, again pushing him back a little. And that thing in your pants is not in the program tonight. Well, we'll see later. I'm kind of the irresistible type, you know, said Johnny, pulling him back close and making a joke. When tonight is over, you'll never want to wear anything but a dress again. I doubt that. By tomorrow, I intend to be back in jeans and sneakers, said Eric. Really, that will be tough, considering your mother and grandmother donated all your male clothes to charity this morning, and they were shopping for your new feminine wardrobe all day, said Johnny, shocking his friend. Oh, and by the way, the two of us are having dinner with my parents, your mom, and grandmother tomorrow at Morton's Steakhouse. So you'll definitely need a new dress for that, but I'm sure your mom may have taken care of it already. You are joking, right? Said Eric, almost ready to pass out. Don't believe me? Johnny told Eric, smiling. Check your calendar on your phone. Eric's hands shook as he opened his purse and took out his phone. He opened it and clicked on his calendar. He immediately noticed his day was carefully planned out tomorrow. She's too fucking much, Eric exclaimed in disbelief as he scrolled through it. It says I have a nail appointment at 2 p.m. and hair at 3:30. Then we have dinner at 7 p.m. You weren't kidding. This is going to be so much fun, said Johnny. My parents are dying to meet Erica. My dad is thrilled that I have a girlfriend.